Good afternoon, everyone. How are you doing? So what's going to happen next is that I will be playing Nethack for I think I have around 2 hours. So I'm the fastest player in Nethack, and by that I mean like a wall clock time. Like my record is 1 hour and 3 minutes, but that took like 1 month of trying, maybe 1,000 games. So we're not going to go that fast this time. So for 2 hours, I will try to have like a balance between how many risks I'm going to take just to have like a shot at actually winning this game in this time frame. I estimate the probability around 30%, I'd say, which I think is pretty good. So we're going to be doing that. Oh yeah, the schedule actually had my, no one knows my real name. It's Mikko Joula. I'm from Finland, and I don't know why the schedule did not have my actual real name. Maybe I'm better known as with my nickname and so on, since I'm not a CEO or someone who's made awesome roguelikes, although I want to in the future. But
we can put your real name on the schedule. I just didn't know which one you preferred.
I think that ship has kind of sailed by now.
Well, the schedule will live in perpetuity, so.
Yeah, but that's fine. That's all fine. So okay. This is a screenshot from nethack.alt.org.
It's not yet up on the screen for everyone else, but they'll see in a second.
Okay, let's wait for that.
There we go.
Okay, yeah. So here is what I have currently on this server. This is not actually the world record. The world record is 1 hour 3 minutes. And I was practicing on Friday. I got one in about 2 hours. So hopefully we can replicate this result. I'm going to play on this server as long as the, I'm going to test the network. Yeah, so we got around 70 milliseconds ping to this server, which means I probably should be able to play on this thing. Let's see. Oh, also one thing, if you're going to do a speed run, then you will need like a timer on the screen. So one of the breaks, I wrote this script, which I can run, and it'll show like a seconds are going. It's vertical, but this will give us like a how long have I actually been playing this thing. So I think not to waste any more time, I should actually get into this thing.
Cool, and I'm going to try to commentate. Yell corrections at me if I say something dumb. You will. If people have questions in the audience, we can pass around a mic, and both of us can try to answer them. I don't know who wants to start with the mic, but
yeah. So I'm not going to be using, like, if you're familiar with Nethack, like the general structure, I'm not going to be using any kind of impenetrable, strange strategy. It's more like knowing what to do, what risks to take, and so on. So there shouldn't be anything totally unexplainable things I do. There are probably mistakes or something like that. Like, this is in no way like a perfect game. But let's just start. We're going to play Door and Valkyrie and hope it goes well. Okay? Let's do it.
In the audience has ascended at Nethack? Cool. This will be really exciting for a lot of people. Who here has never played Nethack? Great. So you're going to need a lot of explanation. So on the screen, of course, we have this classic @ symbol, which is our character. That F is our cat. This is the first level. Those curly braces are water wells, which we'll probably ignore for now.
Okay, actually, there's a little problem. The terminal is too
small.
It's too small. So I'm gonna just up. Yeah, let's zoom out. 24. That's how much I want. 24. Okay, this is good.
Cool. So we'll get back into it in a second. Valkyries are sort of like, the easiest class to win with in Nethack. So all the tiles are pretty classic roguelike things. So those hash marks are paths between rooms, and the other things are rooms. Money is money. You know how it works. Those O's are boulders. We just went into a teleport trap, so now we're on the second level. And we kicked down a door because it wouldn't open.
The pet gets abandoned immediately, like it's not useful. So sorry, cat. Goodbye.
Yeah. I also, in my normal playthroughs, ignore my pet pretty quickly. We're doing a great job of kicking down doors. You saw that we ignored that spell book because we're not going to cast anything. Those little X's are grid bugs, and this is a kobold which is probably neutral to us because we're Dwarven. Gas spores can be a little scary, but that one didn't deal us that much damage. You see that he went down to the lower level. If you generate a level, it generates all the monsters in the level, and they'll be of level proportionate to the level when you first explore it. So looking at a level early is a good way to make it easier when you come back to it later, because you might gain levels when clearing this one.
So what's happening now is that I'm collecting money and getting enough levels, and once I'm level 5, I probably will go to the mines.
So this is a shop. Items that start as unidentified still have fixed cost to them. So if you see them in a shop and they're of a cost, you get insight into what scroll or potion they might be, or if like the boots that you see might end up being speed boots or stealth boots, they'll be a different price. The price is based on your charisma, but they're still clearly proportional to each other. So a good way to figure out what scrolls are important or what potions are important is by seeing how much they cost in a shop. You can also use this method later to find if a lamp is a magic lamp or a useless one. But so every time you find a store, you want to do that item identification because it's much easier than finding scrolls of identify. Nethack has clearly procedurally generated levels, but some fixed things in it. So the mines are one of the fixed paths. At the bottom of the mines is Mine Town, where there's some shops where you might find a magic lamp. There's also a temple with a priest who can give you bonuses. And at the bottom, after that, there's the place where you find a guaranteed luckstone at Mine's End. The mines are filled with dwarves and goblins, which can be dangerous if you're too low level, but you can also find good armor and stuff.
So what was the strategy in terms of buying and selling potions and spells in this shop a couple months back? Did you actually buy and sell them? What did it look like?
I think we just picked them up and put them down to figure out what price they were, because they're unidentified, so we don't know what they are. Here you see we were gaining some health, so we used Elbreath, which protects you from attacking monsters. Yeah, and so we have a scroll called ID because we figured out that it was called ID based on its price. We never actually used it or identified it. And later we can figure out by what things are in what price classes, whether they're a certain type of armor or not. Like if they're enchant armor, which is really useful, or enchant weapon, or stuff like that. Keep asking questions because I can only sort of half pay attention to what's going on. Yeah, so Elbreath is the special thing in Nethack. It's a word of protection. If you're standing on top of it, monsters won't attack you. You saw that we had one over there somewhere in the room. And so you write it on the ground, and then monsters, when they see you, run away. It's much like a scroll of scare monster.
Where are we now?
We are now in the beginning of the mines. You can see they look a lot different. There's no rooms. It's like sort of a big cave. We're fighting these gnomes. Remy?
What's the default number that you search for when you're looking for a room?
What?
Default number of times you search.
Oh, I don't know if there's a default.
I mean, like, as a player.
As a player, I mean, until you find it. Search is like pretty random. Sometimes you like won't find something after searching 5 times, and sometimes you'll find it immediately. One cool thing about Valkyries, if we're lawful, is that we can get Excalibur, which auto searches on move, which makes it a lot easier not to fall into traps. Someone back there, you're gonna have to yell.
Why not rub the lamp we found earlier?
Why not rub the lamp that we found earlier?
What did I find?
Did you find a lamp?
I did find a lamp. I don't know if it's like a magic lamp or not yet.
Probably because we want it to be blessed before we rub it for a better chance of the genie to be to come out. So we'll identify it probably in the altar in Minetown.
How did you know that flute was magic?
I played it. It made a strange noise that makes
Yeah,
it
so you get a
magic.
different message if it's a magic flute or not a magic flute.
It's not actually useful for speed running, but it may have like a situational.
Yeah, we
advantage.
might want to use it in the castle or something, but it doesn't matter that it's magic.
Yes, I was, but I didn't find any fountains like high enough to be comfortable, so I abandoned kind of trying to get Excalibur for now.
Yeah, so we have fountains in Minetown. Fountains sometimes let out water genies. that have a probability of granting you a wish based on, it's like 80 plus the level that you find it on. So if you go to a higher level fountain, you have a higher chance of the genie giving you a wish. So it's better to dip starting at the top level and then go down, rather than starting at the closest fountain. So we don't have Excalibur yet, but we might get it soon.
Yeah, you can't dip for Excalibur here because the fountain will disappear and the guards will get angry. So I don't dip for Excalibur in this place.
Yeah, the guards in Minetown get mad at you if you do just totally normal things like kicking down doors and dipping your things in the fountains. Yeah, I don't know why they're so uptight. You have a mic. You can say it into the mic. You can turn it on. We are a dwarf. Candles are necessary for the end game. This is a big spoiler, so you're going to get spoiled. At the end of the game, so we're questing for the Amulet of Yendor, which is at the way bottom of this dungeon. We step into a portal where it is by using the candle, the book, and the bell. We get a candelabra that we fill with candles, and we light it. We read the book, or we ring the bell, we light the candles, we read the book, and then a portal opens, and we go and get this amulet. So you need a certain amount of candles to be able to do that, and if you don't find them, it's like a big pain in the ass. So since candles are a required winning item, that's why we want them. So we just dropped everything in our inventory to figure out its blessed, cursed, uncursed status. You'll see it in the item viewer now. They'll all have different colors based on the status. When you drop something on an altar, it flashes a certain color that tells you how blessed or unblessed it is.
Did you in fact just buy the stethoscope?
I do not
Right.
know. Do we buy a stethoscope?
Yes, I bought the stethoscope. It's useful often. Also, you can throw like pancakes to horses and they become peaceful. They won't be tame, but yeah, that's how taming works in this game. You throw pancakes at them.
Yeah, you can throw pancakes or carrots or apples at horses. You can throw tripe rations or sort of meat at dogs, and they'll become your friends and cats. Stethoscopes are weird. You can like listen to walls and hear things and like stuff. I don't know what we're going to use it for because I've never really used a stethoscope.
Sometimes, like if I get in a tough situation, it may mean like what kind of decision I'm going to make. Am I going to like hit this monster for the desperate chance of surviving?
Oh
this
yeah,
encounter?
it gives you an idea of how much health they have, right?
Does it cost a turn to use a stethoscope?
It costs less than a turn. So sometimes if you're fast, you can use the stethoscope and then make a decision.
I just wanted to comment about the lamp. A magic lamp would have stayed on forever. It would have been an infinite light source. But if you notice that it's going out, then you know it's not magic.
Yeah, that's true. But I managed to get into the shop before. Actually, I think it gave me the message just as I was price identifying that lamp.
Do we identify it as not a magic lamp?
Yeah, it was oily lamp, not
Ugh.
wishes.
How unfortunate. I mean,
Technically, yes, but they're difficult to find.
Yeah, I didn't play the game completely unspoiled. I believe the Oracle will tell you some things, and you sort of just like run into those items anyway by encountering monsters that are fixed in the game. Yeah, playing Nethack unspoiled is a hard thing to do.
So the one important thing I need to find from this mines before I go away is a pickaxe. Yeah.
The pickaxes are really useful for later for being able to go through walls. There's a big section at the end that has a lot of mazes, and to traverse through the mazes really quickly, having a pickaxe will really help you just basically not have to deal with them. I'm going to say something more about wishes. Wishes are really important. There's a lot of items that are sort of considered like very necessary to win. It's called an ascension kit. You can wish for a lot of these items, and they really increase your chances of not dying. So when you get a wish, you can specify an item, and it will just appear in your inventory. You can even like specify some enhancements to that item, like have it be blessed, have it be +2, have it be rust-proof, etc. And so wishing allows you to find sort of the gaps in those items and get them immediately. your chances of winning a game like really increase if you get an early wish that allows you to have like a really good armor set or a really good weapon. But unfortunately, it seems like we haven't found any of those. Are you not going to get a luck stone?
Luckstone, no. For speedruns, I don't care.
Cool. So a typical part of the Ascension kit is this thing called a luck stone, which makes you have permanently good luck. And that makes it so monsters' attacks miss more often, and random status things happen to you less. It's at the bottom of the mines, and you get it, and you hold on to it, and you can do things to increase your luck, which sort of makes the game easier. But, I mean, if you're going very fast, it takes a lot of time. And I assume you won't do Sokoban, or are you going to speedrun Sokoban?
The first level of a Sokoban, that's what I will do, but I will not do it completely.
Cool.
Takes too much time.
Yeah, Sokoban takes a while. But also has a guaranteed nice item at the end of it.
Just as a comment, Sokoban is a side branch, just like the mines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's not required to win the game, but it's typically always played. It is what it sounds like. It's basically a game of Sokoban where you push around boulders. At the end of it, you either get a bag of holding or an amulet of reflection, both of which are really useful. Bags of holding allow you to carry tons of random things. If you're a pack rat like me, you always want a bag of holding. Amulets of reflection will reflect dangerous attacks, including a ray of death, which could instantly kill you. It also makes it so Medusa turns to stone instead of turning you to stone, and so it's very useful. But you can kill Medusa either with your eyes closed, or you can get a source of reflection from something else.
So, did you do anything special to kill the leprechaun just now?
I threw my gold away. Otherwise, the leprechaun will hit me and teleport away, which
Yeah.
is annoying. So I just threw my little gold.
Leprechauns
that I
are
had
super
left.
annoying. If they hit you and you have any money, they'll steal an amount of your money and teleport away. If you have no money, it can't steal your money, so it can't teleport away. And leprechauns are stupid enough that they like don't pick up gold off the ground. So if you see a leprechaun, you can just drop your gold, punch it to death, and then pick up your gold again. If you're playing too fast and you forget to do this, then the leprechaun hits you and teleports away, and you're like, damn it, now I have to like go chase down this dumb leprechaun to get back my like 400 gold. But presumably, because it's possible that one of them has an enchantment on it already, at some point when we get to an altar, we'll see if any of them are cursed. If not, we'll try on all of them, and if one of them has a +1 enchantment, we'll keep that one and throw out the others. Also, presumably, we can sell them for some money. As long as we're not encumbered, I think they're totally great to carry around. I don't think so. My recollection is that they have a lower. They might give you some sort of. I have no idea.
Just writing on the floor with the magic missile wand, is that what just happened? It riddles the floor with bullets?
So that's a way of identifying wands. You get wands and you don't know what they do, so you want to figure out what kind of wand they are. There's tons of different wands in Nethack. Wands of slow monster, wands of speed monster, wands of magic missile, wands of fire, etc. So one way to identify them is to write something on the floor with them. When you do that, you'll get a message that will hopefully give you a sense of what it is. Not all wands will give you that message, but riddled with bullets tells you that it's a wand of magic missile. Or it does use up a charge on the wand. So like a wand of digging will also give you like a thing. Yeah, it says gravel flies up from the floor, and then you have a permanent Elbrath, which is like pretty cool, and you can come back to it if you want. It's a good way to identify weapons. It's much more informative than just zapping them randomly at the wall. And maybe it's a wand of wishing. You get a wish.
Do we have food right now?
No, we don't have any food. We're basically, I hope a lot that I don't starve to death. I'm very good at hoping bad things don't happen.
Presumably, we can also pray and get some foodness from our god if we're in a dire situation. Did we get Excalibur? Awesome. So now we have auto search when we walk around, which means we'll see traps and find doors more easily.
We're actually going back to the mines. I have to get this stuff identified because in the dungeon there's now I don't know how to pronounce it, Mumak. That thing hits like 1 million trucks.
Which monster?
Yeah.
So Elven Mithra has magic cancellation 2, which
What?
lowers the effects of some
Oh no, let's
magic.
never go.
Also, I think it can be enchanted higher than Dwarven Mithril, but it might have a lower base. It's lighter. Um, so now we're trying on all these things and seeing if any of them are special, which for me would take a long time, but someone can type a lot faster than me. Yeah, I mean, if you want to look up super specifics on some of these items, you might just want to go to the wiki, because I'm not an encyclopedia. One of the ironies of running a conference about roguelikes is you have no time to play roguelikes. So it's been a while since I picked up Nethack.
Yeah, so we got -4 AC, which is a big deal. Now I can fight that.
Yeah, that's like really
Or actually
good.
run away. I'm still not gonna fight it.
AC is armor class. The lower it is, the better. You start at 10, and you want to get into the negatives. There's a bunch of ways to do it. Higher, like better armor. You can enchant that armor. You can get resistance from priests that you give money to, and there are spells that do it. I think the highest negative I've ever had was like 39, but that's like pretty high and not necessary for winning. You can have a much worse AC and still win.
Now that you have the scroll teleport identified, why aren't you robbing the scroll keeper?
Takes too much time, as many other things.
Yeah, so there's a lot of strategies that you could use in a normal game, but
There's another aspect that hasn't happened here in the game, but basically I don't really care about the identity of potions. All I want them to use it for is make holy water at this point. Later in the game, these potions of full healing will be useful, but at this point it's like, I don't give a crap what the potions actually are.
so there's a lot of potions that you don't know what they are. They're just like random colors when you first get them. There are ways to identify them, but they're mostly pretty safe to drink. So you can just drink them later in the game when you have something like a unicorn horn and use them. Potions of holy water, what they do, so things can be cursed, things can be uncursed, and things can be blessed. Blessed things are special for a number of reasons. They're resistant to being cursed. They're good. The way you bless things, and certain things work better if they're blessed. The way you bless things is by dipping them in holy water, and the way you get holy water is by putting water on an altar and praying at that altar. But because of how water works, I don't know, if you pour...
We are wishing now.
So we got a wish. So we got some Silver Dragon Scale Mail.
So just want to comment
Silver
on that.
Dragon Scale Mail is reflective, which means we'll get that reflection bonus. +2 is the highest guaranteed thing. Fixed means that it's corrosion proof, so it won't degrade if we run into a dragon that has like a disintegration blast, even though it would probably also bounce off of it. This is a Chickatrice, which could be really, or it's a Cockatrice, which could be really dangerous, so you have to be careful when we fight it. We have to not fall onto its corpse when we're blind, because then we would die. We don't have gloves, so we can't pick it up. We're playing on NAO, so there could be bones files here.
Bones files are turned off. It's
Oh.
because like if I find bones, often they have so good items that I feel like the run is actually cheating. Like if a wizard dies, that's a cloak of magic resistance right away, which is really, really powerful in this run. So bones are off. They
and
can't happen.
Great, and here's the Oracle level, so you can see those statues, which were referred to in that fanfiction reading.
May I just comment about the magic lamp?
Yeah.
So it happened kind of fast, but just to recap that, he saw a lamp that wasn't called oil. By process of elimination, there are only 2 kinds of lamps in the game, so he knew it was magic.
Yeah, so we found a lamp earlier in the game. We dipped it in holy water, I think.
No, I'm just making water. If I find an altar later, I can then get everything.
Yeah, so we're dipping all of our potions in the water to turn them into water, so that later we can turn them into holy water.
This is what I meant when I said that I don't care what these potions actually are. Like, I don't know what any of these. I have 2 potions called acid. I think I made a mistake somewhere. But that's fine.
Why are we a dwarf? Do we have better intrinsics as a dwarf?
Oh, shit. Well, I just lost all my scrolls because I accidentally dip into water. But that's, but that's fine.
So if you fall into a puddle, all of your scrolls get wiped clean. Oh man, you are having...
It's not actually that bad. Like actually the important part is knowing the scrolls so I can write them later with magic markers. So knowing what the scrolls are is actually pretty useful. So it's not that bad. Eventually I will need blank scrolls anyway if I'm going to make this run fast. So
it is frustrating that if we had a useful scroll that we didn't identify yet, then we can't read it and figure it out. So the way you make holy water is you have a big pile of water potions and you pour one holy water potion into it and they all become holy water. So as long as you have one potion of holy water, you can create sort of like an infinite amount of holy water potions as long as you have them. So all those clear potions are water.
If I find genocide, I will genocide, but I don't always find them.
If we find genocide, we can genocide. We'll probably genocide liches because we can't genocide H's because we're a dwarf and we would kill ourselves. That's a really great stupid death, by the way. So right now we see that we're an H. In previous versions of the game, I definitely played one where you were still an at symbol and I genocided H's. And your amulet of life saving does nothing when you wipe out your entire race. So that H on the wall, which is a mind flare, could still definitely occur in this game unless we read 2 scrolls of genocide to specifically kill master mind flayers and mind flayers.
Why silver and not grayscales?
Probably because we can get magic resistance from a cloak of magic resistance, and this way we can have our next slot free for a different amulet, like an amulet of life saving rather than an amulet of reflection. Because we're not going to do Sokoban, we don't care. Like typically you would save that wish till after you did Sokoban and then wish based on that. But because we're not going to do it anyway, this is probably sort of like the most complete thing that we can get. I think we can get later, we can get one of those cloaks by killing a priest or in other various ways.
We just made holy water.
Great, so we have some holy water. It's super useful. You should always have holy water. Too many questions, sorry. What's the 7? I don't know what the 7 is. Golems. It was a rope golem. Ah. Yeah. So golems used to be like tick marks, which were really annoying because you can... It's probably a setting. This is 3.4. So in that version, it was definitely not changed. But I think...
what are we talking about? Say that again. Like there's some... Oh, you mean like I'm H, not at symbol, or? Oh yes, that's the setting.
So that's a setting in his config file, which you can specify in NAO. You can make really complex config files to get a lot of UI stuff that you wouldn't normally do. We found a priest. Is it? It's a Coline priest. That's great. So we can give him some money, or him or her. We can give the priest some money and get resistance. I don't think we have enough money to do it yet. It's 400 times your level, and we're probably a high level and don't have that much money. But I don't know. Yeah, we have like $1,000, so we can't do it yet. But we can always go hide there. The priest will be nice to us, and we can see the status of things on that altar and pray there, of course. We are playing 3.4 because it's easier. We found a graveyard, but all the things are asleep, so it's like not that scary.
That's for another time. I just make like mental note. It's on level 13.
Yeah.
But we're going to get back to that later.
Graveyards often have wraiths on them. If you kill a wraith, you can eat its corpse.
Yeah, but you have to lure them to another level because on graveyard levels they usually don't leave any.
Yeah, so wraiths have a small chance of leaving a corpse. If you eat the wraith's corpse, you'll gain a level. If the wraith hits you enough, you'll lose a level. So it's like a gamble. But they won't typically leave corpses on graveyard levels, so you have to like lure them away from it. Later, much later, when we get to the entrance to hell, there's a bunch of wraiths there, and we can sort of bring them back upstairs and eat them if we want. We just fought one of the most annoying monsters, which is a Zan, which is sort of like a mosquito that makes your legs stop working and then you become encumbered. It's like super annoying, but I think we killed it pretty easily.
There's a bunch of items I'm missing before I can actually hit the castle. Maybe most important is some kind of instrument or a ways to levitate. And the pickaxe, so it may be possible that if I can't find them before I hit Medusa, I have to actually go back all the way to the mines, which hopefully doesn't take too long. But it's like my experience that if I don't have them, the game, like my chances of dying at castle are actually really high.
Don't we have an instrument? We have a flute, right? Yeah. So we have an instrument, but we might still want a source of levitation.
Oh, actually, I forgot I had an instrument. Good point. Good point.
So we have an instrument, but we still probably want to find a pickaxe.
Yeah, this like I forget things all the time, so it's.
It's good. We can be your external memory.
So some rooms are lit, others are dark, and are there ways to make your radius of light bigger?
Yeah. So if you have a lamp that's on, your radius of light is bigger. You can also cast light with a wand of light, and it will leave a permanent source of light in that room. Did we get the... So if we got a message that says that our help was needed, that means this is the level with our class quest on it. We'll find a portal somewhere, and we'll get transported to our quest, where we'll talk to like the world of Valkyries and like kill some monster and get the Orb of Faith, which is our class quest item, which does some things, but it's really heavy and kind of annoying. We have to complete the quest to proceed. And the Orb of Faith, I think, gives us magic resistance, which is great until it gets stolen from us.
Orb of Faith does not have magic resistance, unfortunately.
It does not. We fought a troll. I don't know if we ate it, but they're fun to eat.
Also forgot I had a bag.
So if you don't eat a troll, actually, they'll just keep coming back to life. If you eat them, they go away forever and they stop bothering you. But you can... we're eating puddings, but I don't really know why. Oh, we can get resistances from them? Oh, we get acid resistance from puddings. That's great.
No, there is no acid resistance that you can get. The pudding gives like fire resistance. I believe it gives shock resistance. Not.
Okay, so you can get intrinsic resistances in this game. Some armors will give you resistances, but also eating the corpses of monsters of certain types will give you those resistances. The most like clear ones are types of dragons. So there's different colors of dragons. Obviously, we saw silver dragons, scale mail. There's gray dragons, red dragons, yellow dragons. They're all different elements. This is a monster zoo. If you have a pin... that's just like how it is. So if you have one of the pins from last year, it is a monster zoo, which are really fun. So they have all these monsters that are asleep, and you get to kill them. And there should be a throne somewhere if this is actually a monster zoo, and I correctly identified it. And we can go sit on the throne and maybe get a wish, or maybe have all of our stuff blown up. Oh, I don't think we've eaten a slime mold. I don't even know if you have that thing. Do we find an altar? Oh no, we're putting lots of things in a bag, so we don't have to deal with them. Oh, we got a bag of holding. So a bag of holding makes all of our items lighter, and you can fit infinite items in it. Otherwise, you have a limit of how many items you can have in your bag based on the number of addressable characters. Also, a blessed bag of holding will reduce the weight of those things even further, so you can kind of carry just like a ludicrous amount of things without becoming encumbered. So that's where that like potion of holy water becomes useful. Also, things inside of a bag of holding, depending on what you do to the bag, are less likely to get that sort of like water damage from jumping in a puddle, which protects your items better. It can also be really dangerous if you put the wrong thing in the bag of holding. It stops being a bag of holding and you lose all of your items. So if you're playing super fast, it can be very annoying. That upper level is a throwback to Rogue. It's a level that looks like Rogue in Nethack, and so it has like older graphics and some old monsters. So if you put a bag of holding in a bag of holding, it blows up, and if you put a wand of cancellation in a bag of holding, it blows up, and it's heartbreaking. Nymphs will steal your stuff, so it's good to make it so they can't attack you. So we put Elbreth down on the floor because nymphs can be really annoying because they'll grab something that you really need and teleport away. They also carry mirrors, which if you break them gives you bad luck, so it's also hard to throw things at them. So we're going to keep adventuring down until we find the Medusa level. On the Medusa level. So we stepped on a polymorph trap.
Yeah,
and
I have a ring of polymorph control. So.
And we have a ring of polymorph control on, apparently, so now we're a vampire lord. Did we know that when we had the ring on?
Yes, we did know that. I identified it at one point.
Oh, that's great.
I price identified this ring, and then I actually found it on dungeon floor. So I knew it was one of the 4 rings that cost the same, and polymorph control is one of them. The others are teleport control, conflict, and there's one bad one, but I forgot what it was.
Do you want to tell us why you're a vampire?
Armor doesn't break, and it's cool.
Cool, right, vampire. So this is a gray unicorn is not our class. We're lawful, so our unicorn would be white. So we kill the unicorn, and if we eat it, maybe we get poison resistance, and then the horn will cure status effects on us really easily, especially if the horn is blessed. So it's a really useful item to have. You can also throw gems at unicorns to get luck, but because we don't have a luck stone, it doesn't matter. This is a beehive, so we're killing all these bees, and on the floor are royal jellies and food rations, which are really good sources of nutrition. So your unicorns won't fight you. Like the white one wouldn't fight us, and we can throw gems at it and get luck. And then the other ones, if we kill them, our god is also like kind of happy, and we can sacrifice them at our altars for like beneficial things our god gives us, like clout. I forget what it's called. Because we're a vampire lord. I think then if we lose the polymorph, then we die, which could be bad, because you can fall out of the polymorph when you run out of health. I don't know if it's timed with a ring of polymorph control.
Yeah, it'll run out. I'm actually waiting for it because I want to go back to do some things. I'm kind of waiting until this thing wears out.
Yeah, so we still wouldn't want to genocide mind flayers. People can just shout at me.
Why are the bees A's instead of B's?
I think all the bug types are A's. Ants are also A.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's A, but it just is.
I think insects are A's. I think even beetles are A's. Bees are bats and other flying birds, so ravens. And then they expanded the class. So he said that originally it was just ants, and now then they expanded the amount of insects that were there, and so they kept the letter. If people are hungry, there's like some snacks over there. We can like pass them around the audience. I feel bad because we're kind of like holding everyone hostage. So if someone wants to grab some snacks, we can like have some chips. Other questions? People who haven't played NetHack, is anything confusing?
I had a question. Are vampires resistant to stoning?
To what?
Are vampires resistant to stoning? Can you bite a cockatrice?
I don't think they're resistant to stoning. So yeah, I could have died. Actually, I have died that way.
Okay, but we're back to being a dwarf now, which is cool.
We can't find the snacks.
Oh no.
How many times?
Yeah, like it's like 5S and then.
No one eats
5
until this is
percent.
over.
There should still be some things in the fridge. For those of you on the stream, I'm sure this is like the most important thing. It's like the food in the room. So we put a lot of things in our bag of holding, though you always have to be careful about putting wands in there because you can ruin your life. I think we just paid off the priest, and so we got, when you give money to the priest proportional to your level, you get armor class resistance. I forget what it's actually called, but so you get a reduction in armor class. The first time it's a random number between 1 and 4 that you get additionally, and then after that it's 1 for every donation you give up to some maximum. But it looks like we got probably like 3 or 4 because our armor class is now -10, and that's just permanent always, no matter like what armor you have.
we're actually, we're actually behind schedule. I should be at the castle at 30 minutes. It's 37 minutes now. So
So we're going slow.
I'm not playing fast enough.
Yeah, but also we're talking a lot, so I think it's okay. If you saw in the previous level, we hit a yellow light, which blinded us briefly. And now this should be the Medusa level.
Isn't this quest?
Oh, this is a quest level, yeah, sorry. Thank you. Oh, great. Hi, Twitch chat. I hope you're enjoying this. If you saw, so that little carrot is the portal to the quest. Additionally, on the quest level, you'll notice that the graphics that we're using are the DEC graphics, which is why you have these like really nice walls, and you have diamond water things. I prefer DEC graphics. I don't know their history, but they look nice. But then you'll notice that like the rogue level looks really different. So now we're going back to the graveyard, and maybe we're gonna eat some of these wraiths. We're gonna kill all the monsters that aren't. I'm saying we as if I'm doing anything. He's going to kill all the monsters that aren't wraiths just to sort of clear them out. Everything should be asleep, so things won't randomly attack us. But then we can kite the wraiths over to the stairs, bring them upstairs, and try to kill them. We did this after we did the original payoff to the priest, so that it was cheaper. If we had done this before, then we'd have to pay more money to the priest because our level would be higher. Getting your level higher kind of helps, kind of doesn't after a certain point, but at least is useful for now. You get extra health, obviously, but the monsters you fight are higher. So then we just gained a level, and we went and stood on the stairs so it couldn't run back downstairs when it was low health. What's what? Oh, the room with the dollars, that was a room with a bunch of leprechauns. So we walked into it, and you could only see the leprechauns. And then when you walked out, you remembered that there was gold sitting under them. So we can go in there if we put all our money in our bag. All our money's in our bag of holding, so leprechauns won't steal it from us. And also later, when monsters try to figure out how much money we have to ask us to pay them, so we got another level by getting a Wraith Corpse. So later Beelzebub might ask us for a toll, and it's nice if you hold like a tiny amount of money in your obviously, and then he'll ask you for like a really small amount of money because it's like a percentage of how much money you have, and they'll have like thousands of dollars in the bag of holding. Yeah, so this is the quest level. I guess we can kick down the door and no one cares. We're gonna talk to this Valkyrie. Is gonna tell us to like go kill a dragon and get an orb. Oh yeah, we have to be a certain level to do the quest, so that's probably why we did the wraith eating, because otherwise the trainer would tell us to get lost.
I don't actually know if I can kill the quest guy, but if I can't, then I'll die.
Yeah? You don't have a better strategy?
Yeah, well, this guy is actually surprisingly tough, even when I have minus 10 AC. Although it may be I'm just remembering wrong. But usually I'm much stronger when I go to the quest than I'm in this game, so I don't know what will happen.
Is there stuff you would want to do to prepare?
No.
Okay. Well, you could read those scrolls of enchant armor.
Is it possible to fire?
I totally forget what the class quest is here, but I do remember that there's like often fire traps on the ground. The quests are a mandatory thing in the game. You do something that is like vaguely aligned with the race that you are, and you get this like little story bit about what it is, and you get some item. The Valkyries get this thing called the Orb of Faith, but everyone calls it the Orb of Weight because it's extremely heavy. It weighs 150, which is like pretty high, and it allows you to level teleport on command every once in a while. All the quest items give you a special ability with a cooldown. The Valkyrie one lets you teleport. There's another, the tourist one is called the Platinum Yandorian Express card, which lets you recharge items. They all do different things.
I don't have teleport control, so I can't, if I get the Orb of Fate, it gives me teleport control, but I can't control where I would actually teleport. Not yet. It's going to be like a wish item, Ring of Teleport Control, if I don't find it otherwise.
Yeah. But I don't know if you can go to a level you've never been to before. But it's good for helping you escape or like travel really quickly. Yeah, all the way back up. So what we're going to do, yeah, I mean, the way the structure of the game is we go all the way down to the bottom of the dungeon, we find this amulet, and then we try to get the hell out before all hell breaks loose. Sort of when you grab it, like all monsters are alerted to your presence and just sort of like, it's like Indiana Jones style, like everything chasing after you as you run out of the world, including the Wizard of Yendor, who's sort of the big bad of the game, who sort of harasses you until you go to heaven. All those are lava. If we step in them, it's real bad news. The game will probably prompt us and tell us to not step into them, but like, you know, yeah, if you get confused, you can fall into lava and get real messed up. It's a great way to die. If we had a source of levitation, we could levitate over all of them. If you saw right there, Excalibur alerted us to the fact that there was a flame trap on the ground before we stepped on it, but then we had to walk over it anyway. I think we blinded ourselves on purpose to see monsters, maybe, because we ate, and so we have telepathy because we ate a floating eye. So if we can't see, our telepathy kicks in and we get to see all the monsters on a level, which is a great way to sort of like find that annoying leprechaun that stole all your money, or see if there's like some really big bad monster somewhere, or like what kind of dragon is on the castle level. So we briefly saw all the things inside of this tower, which includes, is it the prismatic dragon? Can someone remind me what the quest monster is? Oh no. What?
Lord Suitor.
It's Lord Suitor, who's this big giant. It was that purple H, who's going to try to fuck us up. He's going to insult us a lot on the way also. And I think we hit him really hard, so he went to the upstairs so he could run away from us. But at some point, we're going to want to get him to a place where he can't do that, and then we're going to try to beat him up. So we're beating him up.
Okay, I was a little wrong about the, like he wasn't any tough at all. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, we killed him really easily. That was great.
Lightning was Elbereth was engraved with lightning on the stairs.
Yeah. So monsters can't step onto Elbereth as long as there's someone there. And so once we stood on the stairs, he kept trying to go to the stairs to escape the level because he had low health. But we were there, and so every time he walked next to us, he wanted to run away because it scares him to see Elbereth, which is this word of protection. And so we got a lot of free hits.
This is like one of the scariest levels.
Yeah, there's like all these fire traps and lava that you can fall into. We can try to auto run to the stairs, but every time you get a status message, it'll stop you from walking, which is not great for a speedrun. But we totally killed that guy. We have the Orb of Faith, and we're going to show it to our quest trainer, who's then going to be like really happy, and I think also give us one of the items. I think they give us the bell.
No, he doesn't give anything, but he will identify the orb, so I will know how many charges it has.
Ah,
But
okay,
other than
great.
that, he doesn't do
Cool.
crap.
I knew that I would say something completely wrong. It's been a while. So now we can progress in the game. We still don't have a pickaxe?
No, that's the next thing, actually.
Okay, so we have to find a pickaxe, and then we're going to go kill Medusa, probably.
Yeah, even though I have to go all this way, it'll pay itself back in the actual maze.
Yeah, we'll save a lot of time in the maze by being able to break through all the walls rather than trying to like explore the whole levels. And then it makes your escape a lot easier because you have a quick path from the stairs to the stairs back up. So when you're escaping, the Wizard of Yendor will like just randomly teleport next to you and like try to steal your stuff and curse you. Basically, the Wizard of Yendor is like a super lich, and the less steps you have to take, the quicker you get out of the dungeon, and the less encounters with the Wizard of Yendor you have. Not technically. If you genocide liches, he doesn't go away, but he basically does all the same things as a lich. The Wizard of Yendor is nicknamed Rodney, which is Yendor backwards. So we'll probably refer to him as Rodney, and that's why I'm referring to him as a him, because Rodney is like a typically male name. I don't know in the game if the Wizard of Yendor is gendered. So as long as we stop by this altar, we like saw if things were blessed or cursed and stuff. And then we're probably going to put a lot of things back in our bag of holding. And then I think we're going to go down and try to find a pickaxe. Though, at some point, do we want to enchant our things? I thought we found scrolls of enchant armor.
Armor is not as important as the weapon in speed runs. Like in a normal game, sure, but in this one, I probably will not care. It's kind of situational. Like, what kind of armor can I find? Like, I think I have -8 AC right now. I think that's enough for the whole game.
I'm not that good of a player, so I would spend a lot of time enchanting my armor. But you'll see that our Excalibur is +6, and so it's like pretty strong. Enchantments go up to 7, but after that you have a chance of obliterating your items by over-enchanting them, and so you enchant them basically up to the highest safe level that you can, and then you leave them alone. And there's a whole strategy for that by using different combinations of blessed and unblessed scrolls of enchantment. So we're going to kill all these gnomes and see if we can find a pickaxe.
He doesn't have warning. He just changed one of the symbols.
And the pickaxe will let us like infinitely break through walls. Wands of digging will also let us break through walls, but pickaxes, don't run out of charges. We have to be careful not to aggro aligned monsters and piss off our god and stuff.
I'll suggest
But yeah,
Does the Orb of Faith give you warning?
cool. The Orb of Faith gives you warning. Do you want to explain what warning is?
Okay, warning is like when you can't really see a monster. I don't know what, like that one right there.
So that one shows that that's like a weak monster nearby.
Yeah, I think it goes up to 5.
It goes up to 5, yeah. And so monsters that you can't see directly but that are near you, you'll get some sense that they're near you and that maybe you need to worry about them.
Is that number relative to your level or absolute?
It's relative to their strength relative to you, but it's funny because even as you get like, sort of in this game you become a superhero, like you just become stronger and stronger until you're like, you just kill everything, and even then there are still monsters that like show as being strong against you,
Yes.
even though in reality like,
Yeah.
so we just got our pickaxe, which means we can stop messing around with the mines. But yeah, like even when you're just like this superhero with like -39 AC, just like killing everything in one hit with your bare hands, things still show up as 5s to you, and you're like, oh, that was like this minotaur that I killed in one hit. Though minotaurs are really frustrating.
Yes.
Yep, so we're digging our way down because it's a speed run and we can do that. Digging takes like extra time, so like typically if you're playing a lot slower than this, it's a great way to starve to death by digging too much. Since we're digging straight down, this is saving us a lot of time, and will save us a lot of time in the mazes of Gnome. But for now, this is like really time saving. So after we kill Medusa, who will die instantly because of our super shiny reflective armor, we're going to get to the castle, which is a guaranteed thing in the game. It has a bunch of soldiers in it and some dragons and a guaranteed Wand of Wishing, which will give us somewhere between like 5 and 8 wishes that we'll use to grab all the things that we need to ascend, including things like source of levitation, and things that will help us in the end game. But that will come up in a bit.
So perhaps interesting anecdote. The levels that are guaranteed, Nethack implements two custom compilers for levels in order to implement its levels. And the levels that are guaranteed is one level description language that looks like a picture of the level, basically. And the other one is another level description language and that one is used for the randomly generated ones. And they mostly just describe constraints. There needs to be this many doors and this many monsters and this kind of stuff. And so when you compile Nethack, you build those compilers, and then it runs the compilers over those levels, and then you have Nethack.
Yeah, and so certain levels look the same every time. The bottom of the mines has a number of types of things that it can look like. That purple H is pretty scary, so I think we're being careful. It's a Titan. Yeah, so we engraved Elbereth with lightning. So when you you can put Elbereth on the ground, but after a certain amount of movement or a certain number of moves, it could move away. It could like get wiped away, and then you have monsters hitting you again. If you put it in the ground with like a wand of digging or fire or lightning, it's there permanently. And we also blinded ourselves when we engraved it with lightning, so we see all the monsters on the level. That green A on the right side is Medusa, but I think we also aggroed some other scary monsters. So we went upstairs to sort of recoup.
I don't want to be level 15 when I hit the castle because it'll affect the generation of monsters on that level. So you actually want to be level 14.
Yeah, you have diminishing returns on being higher level because it makes the monsters harder. So yeah, Mind Flayers are like one of the scarier things. Okay, so we skipped that level, and this is the castle. We're blind. We have a flute, which will be helpful. We'll have to play a fun game of Mastermind to get to it. Yeah. So we just killed Medusa. We dug down to the castle and then walked back up the stairs. Because the castle forces you to be in the beginning part of it, so we're able to come up through the stairs that are guaranteed to be there. So the castle, you always go left to right. On the left side is this sort of maze, and then you walk out into this courtyard. In the courtyard is a drawbridge. If we play the flute correctly, the drawbridge will open and monsters will cross it. There's certain spots you have to stand in so you don't get crushed by the drawbridge. But you can crush other monsters under the drawbridge. If you don't want to deal with that, you can put on a source of levitation, fly all the way around the castle and sneak in through the back door. Right now we're killing these eels, which can be really dangerous. They can wrap themselves around you and drown you. Also, they can blow up all of your magical items with a shock of electricity. Those X's are Zorns and those E's are earth elementals that can walk through walls. And so they'll like come out of the castle and try to like bug you. Our warning is what's allowing us to kill these monsters in the water that we wouldn't normally be able to see. We put on the boots of levitation, and now we're going to walk around the castle to the back door and also kill all of the monsters that are poking out through the walls. But we do have to be careful that we don't get drawn into the water by one of these water monsters. Is there a reason that you walk diagonally like that?
What do you mean?
Like rather than walking straight?
It's fun.
Okay, great.
Actually, it's easier to type. You're not pressing the same key, so you can go faster. I didn't even realize this until you asked.
Speedrun tips.
Some of these monsters, I have no idea what this name is pronounced. Titanotheater. The Titanotheater.
Sure.
Nailed it.
It's like a big elephant, yeah. In NetHack, you run into a bunch of monsters, and you're just like, what is this thing? What is a Laricata? Like, what is whatever? So all those are trapdoors that would make us fall into hell, which is the next part of the game. We just killed some dragons, which are guaranteed to be here. Had we not wished for the dragon scale mail, we might get dragon scales that would... So we got electricity resistance. So we can eat these dragon corpses and get intrinsic resistances. Like if we ate that black dragon, we would get disintegration resistance.
I'm interested if there's any artifacts in here, since I'm going to wish for an artifact, and the number of artifacts already in the game will affect the success rate of wishing for awesome artifacts. So I'm kind of interested.
Do we not want to eat that black dragon corpse? Or are we too full? Oh, we're too full. I can't see. Sorry. So in the game, there are certain named artifacts. For example, the Orb of Weight is an artifact. Excalibur is an artifact. Other god gifts can be artifacts. Like if you give enough things to your god will reward you with a special named artifact. You can also wish for them, but there's a chance that they won't show up, and that chance is proportional to the number of artifacts that already exist in the game. So we're probably going to wish for someone else's class quest item or something like that. some sort of named artifact, but he wanted to check that none of them had randomly spawned in this level to make sure we had the proper chance of getting one. So this is the inside of the castle now, where all of the monsters are, and things like annoying air elementals are. So we're just gonna like clear them, but we're doing that fun roguelike thing where you line them all up in a corridor and fight them one at a time, so only one of them can hit you. And these don't seem to really be aggroing us. It's also possible that one of those wizards will have spawned with a wand of death. And so if we see that, we'll want to like immediately kill it and grab that wand so we can use it. It will bounce
Takes too much time to go through all the items these guys drop, so even if they have one, I probably will not care unless I actually see them using.
Yeah, unless it's identified by them firing it. If they fire it because we have reflection, it won't kill us. It'll bounce off and kill them, which is great. But they're really useful to have later for dealing with monsters quickly. Those rays are dragon breath.
Okay, this is another word that I don't know how to pronounce. The caveman quest artifact, Scepter of Might?
Scepter of Might. So in the four corners of the castle, there's possibilities of there being a wand of wishing. We found it. We just identified all the things with the blessed scroll of identify, so we know how many charges the wand of wishing has. It has 3 charges. We're going to get scrolls of charging, and then we'll be able to recharge it after wishing for things. Yeah, so Scepter of Might is this caveman quest artifact. It's a mace. It's going to be nice. It's blessed, fixed, and greased, which means that it's harder to curse. It won't get disintegrated, and greased means that it makes it harder for monsters to steal it from you. We're going to get this magic marker, which will allow us to write scrolls arbitrarily later, which is very useful. And then we're going to try to write a scroll of charging, but we don't know how. So now we're going to wish for scrolls of charging.
Like there's a chance that it works if I have seen the scroll before and I have called it something, then it will always work, even if I don't actually know what scroll it is. It's kind of borderline if it's a bug or not, but I tried to use it just now. Don't judge me. Don't judge my life choices.
So the scroll of charging will refill our wand of wishing so that we can get more wishes with it. The monsters that are numbers are this effect called Warning, which tells us of nearby threats. We get it from having the Orb of Faith, which is our class quest item. Does someone want to look on the wiki and tell me what the Scepter of Might does? I think it. Oh, it can turn conflict on and off. Does it give us magic resistance? I've only ascended as a caveman once, but it was a very long time ago. Magic resistance is not the same as magic cancellation. It's just a pure thing. So it does give us magic resistance, which is the same thing that Grey Dragon Scale Mail would have given us. It makes it so certain traps don't affect us and spells don't have an effect. We are wielding it, aren't we?
No, we are not going to wield it.
We're just carrying it for magic resistance and turning on and off.
Yeah,
conflict.
like it has magic resistance, and the other one is the conflict effect, which I think is even more powerful in certain senses.
It only gives us magic resistance when we're wielding it. Okay, so it's basically a toggleable ring of conflict that doesn't take up a ring slot. What conflict does is it makes all monsters attack everything. In this case, I mean, in some cases it would mean that monsters that are neutral to us would attack us, but in the case of like a big room like this, it would cause all the monsters to sort of kill each other. That's going to be super useful later in the game when we get to the astral planes, or the elemental planes, where there are just like a ton of pre-spawn monsters that will all try to attack us immediately.
Why not like the priest or the thief quest artifact? Why the scepter?
Well, Dwarf Fortress isn't like a goal-oriented game in the same way, so I don't think it would be fun to do a speedrun of Dwarf Fortress, because it's sort of about just exploring until you die. I don't know, it could be you. You could become the next Dwarf Fortress speedrunner. People speedrun everything, so. I think we're about to go down to hell.
This is going to be a little risky. They might kill me,
What?
but it's going to be exciting, so let's do it.
What would you do before?
Yeah, conflict helps. Like when you have a massive monsters like this, you can kind of just go past them.
Yeah,
which is
so the
nice.
monsters all get distracted fighting each other, and you can sort of like wander away. So this is, I forgot what this level is called. What would monsters kill you with? I mean, yeah, punching you. No, just a Ray of Death would one-shot, but we have Reflection, so it won't.
At this point, nothing is like super dangerous. There's like some monsters that really hit hard, but they're rare. So when they actually come around, I'll kind of slow down and think actually a little bit what I'm doing. But there's like, for example, mastermind flayers, liches, and so on.
Yeah.
But everything else is kind of I don't care what you.
We don't have genocide, so we can't get rid of liches. Is that true?
What? Was I asked the question?
This is called the Valley of the Dead. You saw all those people there. There's a bunch of graveyards that are always spawned here. So there's some wraiths if we wanted to bring them upstairs and eat their corpses. This is the gate to Genome, or Hell, where we will encounter just a billion mazes. So we just went into Hell, which is like sort of like the last part, the last sort of segment of the game before we get to the place where you find the amulet. We have the book, or sorry, we have the bell that we got from doing our quest. We have to find the Book of the Dead and the candelabra. The candelabra is held by Vlad in Vlad's tower, which we're going to go try to find. And then also the Book of the Dead is held by the Wizard of Yendor, who is also in the Wizard's tower, who's in a different tower that we'll see. I don't know if you have any plan to wake up Rodney and not have to do the tower, but that's a thing you could do. We're using magic mapping to like get through these levels faster. If you dug down, you would end up in a random place on the next level, and you'd have to find both stairs. You'd have to find the stairs up and the stairs down, which would take even more time. This is oh God. This is Jubilex's Swamp. Jubilex is a demon that always occurs who immediately tries to eat you. But because he tries to eat you, you're like in his stomach, so you can like kind of like screw up his stomach and kill him. He makes you sick, but as long as you kill him really quickly, you can heal yourself with that unicorn horn that we got earlier. So that's what we did. He's not actually that scary unless you don't have a unicorn horn.
So if there's interest in kind of exploring the world of NetHack without being necessarily a good enough player to get through all of it, there's also a debug mode largely for developers called Wizard Mode that gives you like unlimited wishes and the opportunity to like say no, I'm not going to die here.
Yeah,
and it's useful for just kind of exploring and learning about the game. And
yeah, so the game's really hard to get to the point where you could get this far in it. You have to be really good. Obviously, like we mentioned, all these like random things that you wouldn't have known about anyway. You can play in Wizard Mode in a much more forgiving way, and get to here. So we just fought a Steam Elemental. I think we have heat resistance, so it didn't deal as much damage.
Hopefully at this point you see why I wanted the pickaxe.
Yeah, so the pickaxe made our life super easy to get through all that. Something you can't really tell, but he's doing a really good job of switching weapons really quickly. You have to be wielding the pickaxe to get through those walls, and so you have to like change the weapon you're wielding. But if you're a speedrunner, you can do that very quickly. We just tried to redstone with our magic marker, but it ran out of charges. We're using our magic marker to make scrolls of magic mapping to get through these levels quicker, and we're sort of ignoring most of the monsters on it. Is this Beelzebub, or did we already do Beelzebub? This is Vlad. This is Vlad's tower, so he's at the top of this, and he's really easy to kill. People make a ton of jokes about how easy it is to kill Vlad, If you hang out in the IRC chat room, you'll see people ask the bot there to name a Vlad Bane for them, which is a random item that they will use to beat Vlad to death. These purple @ symbols are what the Wizard of Yendor looks like. They're just Elven Kings here, but they're sort of decoy Wizards of Yendor. In these chests, there's a chance that we'll find an Amulet of Life Saving, so it's good to explore them. We might have just found one. And that will save our lives if we screw
Actually,
up.
Vlad has a small chance of spawning with the Cursed Scroll of Teleportation, which means it's possible he'll teleport somewhere totally random in the dungeon, and then you'll have to go look for him. It's rare, but it can happen. Maybe 1 in 1,000, I don't know.
Yeah, so you want to kill Vlad quickly in the speedrun.
One thing that I don't have is poison resistance, so basically I could be insta-killed by Spike Trap, for example.
Isn't your constitution like high enough that that won't happen?
Well, yeah, I had the amulet that gives me poison resistant, but I switched it out to life saving.
So we just killed Vlad, and we got the candelabra, which we're going to fill with candles and use as part of the end game. Yeah, Vlad's really easy to kill as compared to everything else. Thrones you sit on, you can sometimes get a wish, but then they disappear really quickly. That one disappeared. Yeah, so now all we have to do is find the Wizard of Yendor, kill him, get the Book of the Dead, and go to the place where we do the ritual. To really spoil the game, the way that you find the Amulet of Yendor is there's one square on one of the final levels of the dungeon that vibrates when you walk over it. When you stand on that square, you can perform the ritual where you ring the bell to get people's attention, you light the candelabra so you can read, and then you read the Book of the Dead to open the portal to where the amulet is. And then you go in there and you fight the priests of Moloch, who have the Amulet of Yendor in their temple. They also have a bunch of flame traps, which are super annoying. And they can deal a lot of damage with this smite ability that they have. So typically the strategy is to find the vibrating square, then kill the Wizard of Yendor, and then go perform the thing, because once you kill the Wizard of Yendor, he comes back again and again to sort of harass you. So if you kill him and then you try to find the vibrating square, you have to like deal with this annoying lich like repeatedly appearing and like trying to shoot you to death. The weird looking level that we just saw was Orcus Town, which is sort of a haunted, abandoned town that is in hell.
Got some lag here.
I don't know.
Hopefully it will not be.
You could save and like try to reopen your session.
Yeah, that's probably what we need to do. Up. Okay, looks like it recovered.
Orcus Town has some items in it that in these abandoned shops, and also has a bunch of wraiths. Orcus also maybe always or often has a Wand of Death, which is useful if you can get it off of him. That faint wave of psychic energy is a Mind Flayer, which is annoying because they can steal your intelligence and you can die of lacking intelligence. I guess we're fighting an invisible Orcus. We have a Wand of Death, which is going to be really useful later to repeatedly kill Rodney as he harasses us. Someone tells me the Twitch stream cut out. So if someone could, oh great, it's back. Hi Twitch stream, and my friends who are watching the Twitch stream. Good to see you. Or good for you to see me, I don't know. If anyone's monitoring the chat and there's questions in there, feel free to shout them out. But I don't have the attention to do it.
So every now and then you see him writing out like magic mapping or identify. He's creating those scrolls by writing them with like that.
Oh yeah, with the magic marker. So on those scrolls that we wiped clean by jumping into the water, we can write on them and create new scrolls of anything that we've ever seen before using a magic marker, because it's magic. And we can also write on the floor with it, but it's much more useful to make these scrolls. In a typical game, you'd probably make a lot of scrolls of enchant armor and enchant weapon, just to have like higher strength. But in this game, because we're trying to speedrun, he's using them to make scrolls of magic mapping to get through these levels quicker, because they're really confusing. Though at some point we'll run out of magic marker charges and not be able to do it anymore.
Usually it's in speedruns, it's actually limited by the number of scrolls you find.
Okay.
Not always, but it's kind of like both of them can run out.
So the amount of charges that it uses off of a magic marker is proportional to the perceived strength of the scroll you're writing. So if you write out a scroll of genocide, it might take 50 charges from your magic marker. But if you write out a scroll of magic mapping, it's considered really weak. And so it doesn't do anything. The blue moat that you saw on that previous level was the entrance to the wizard's tower. That's where Rodney lives. But I think we went past it to go try to find the vibrating square. So the way that you kill Rodney is you levitate over that water, break into the tower, and climb up the stairs and then go kill him. If you have something that's very disruptive, there's like a drum of earthquake or other things like that, you can wake him up from sleep and he'll teleport to you to try to kill you, and he'll jump out of his tower. I don't know if we're going to do that or if we're going to go up the tower. I don't think it will cause much of a time difference.
Cursed amulet of life saving on purpose?
No, I actually didn't even notice it was cursed. But it doesn't affect the functionality of the amulet. So
Yeah, so a cursed piece of equipment or item is something that you can't take off, but they still typically do the thing they're supposed to do. So if we had our weapon cursed, we wouldn't be able to unequip it and equip a pickaxe, or if our pickaxe was cursed, we wouldn't be able to unequip it and re-equip our weapon, but the pickaxe would still go through walls. So the Amulet of Life Saving will still save our life if we die, but we won't be able to switch it out for another amulet. Are we still levitating? Yes, we're still levitating. So now we're somewhere, I don't know. I forget which levels like the wizard tower base is like promised to occur on and the vibrating square, because I didn't look at the wiki before this. But there's a range of levels in which these things can exist. So here we're dipping a bunch of things in the water while levitating to blank out these scrolls so that we can write more scrolls of magic mapping. You can't write on a scroll that already exists. So that's the wizard's tower right there. We're getting fucked up by a lich. I should stop swearing. That was a lich. It cursed a bunch of our items, which isn't like a huge deal, but it's annoying for sure. And they'll teleport to you to try to kill you, and as you get them to low health, they'll teleport away, typically to the stairs up to the next level. So a way that you kill liches is by poking them, going to the stairs, and waiting for them to try to escape the level or attack you, and then they can't escape because you're sitting on top of the stairs, and then you can beat them to death. If I were playing this game at a normal speed, I would genocide all the liches, but since we're mostly going to try to ignore as many monsters as we can, I don't think we're going to do that. It looks like they're not downstairs, so this is the bottom level of the dungeon. The Archlich is now standing on the upstairs. I might escape upstairs if we try to hit it. We wrote Elbereth on the ground just a number of times to make sure that it stayed there when we stepped back onto it. The Lich is summoning monsters to fight us, which is annoying for sure. Disenchanters are especially frustrating because they'll remove the enchantments on our weapons and armor and stuff. So you have to be careful with them. Similarly, rust monsters are annoying for basically the same reason. So here we're waiting to kill the Lich, and then I think we'll move on. Cool. So we killed the Lich. Now we have to kill all the monsters that spawned.
No, I don't have to kill anyone.
Okay.
If I don't want to.
No more killing. Pacifist from here on out.
Vibrating square.
That U was an Umber Hulk, which is nice because it eats holes in the wall, but it will confuse you if you look at it.
Yeah.
Oh, did you find the vibrating square?
Did I?
Yeah, it's up here, the fire trap. Left the fire trap. Right there.
Nice.
Wow, Thanks,
That-
everyone.
That may have saved a few minutes. Yeah.
So we cleared some space around it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like I'd say every second speedrun I actually miss the thing because I'm used to typing so fast and I don't actually read all the messages, so it often happens I don't actually see the.
So the vibrating square is where we're going to perform that ritual to get to where the amulet is, which is what we need to escape the dungeon. I forget what the area you go to is called. Someone can remind me. Are we? We're in Gemen. So it's the sanctum where the priests of Moloch are guarding the amulet. So that's where we read the book after ringing the bell and lighting the candles.
Do you go to Moloch's sanctuary?
42.
Yeah.
Close.
So now we're going to go do the wizard's tower and kill Rodney and get the book from him. So that we can go back to the vibrating square and receive the amulet. No, you can only recharge the wand once, so you're limited to that many wishes. And then you can expend the wand for a final wish. It's true. So the wand started with 3 wishes. We recharged it and got 3 more, and then you can basically blow up the wand to get a final wish, but it takes a ton of turns. There's a type of key remapping that makes that easier. Where you float in the air and you write on the non-existent ground, and it doesn't take any time in game, but it takes your time as a human. I don't know if we're gonna bother doing it, though that's something we would want to do before we're in a dangerous situation like being in the elemental planes.
There's a request from the Twitch chat that you mentioned conducts for those of us who don't know that.
Sure. These are conducts. We have some. At the end of the game, based on how you've acted, it gives you some list of the things you've done. You can be vegan, you can be a pacifist, you can never wish for anything, you can be illiterate and never read anything. In a speedrun, I don't think we're going to be very careful about our conducts, but there's definitely it's sort of optional challenge mode for playing the game.
It's also possible to win the game without ever having eaten food.
Yeah, I mean,
It's possible, just annoying.
some people are better at this game than I am. I could never do it, but some people have played the game with never holding more than 150 weight of things, which is just ridiculous because the quest items basically weigh that much. But people are exceptional, which is great. And we're watching a very good player right now. So the conduct, probably the most interesting conduct that we're going to get now is that we aren't going to genocide anything. You can read a scroll of genocide and kill a whole class of monsters. For example, you could kill all liches, or you could kill all mind flayers, or you could kill all dragons. We're not going to bother with that, it seems. And so that's a pretty good conduct, in my opinion, because I'm very cautious and I always genocide things. Here we're flying into a higher level of the wizard's tower. And then, yeah, this is the wizard's tower where we walk around these halls, and then we're going to find Rodney and murder him. I don't know if Jim's still around, but he described the typical roguelike character as being a murder hobo, where you just go around killing people and stealing random clothes and putting them on. And yeah, we're kind of going into Rodney's house and murdering him and stealing his book. Not particularly nice. But we've normalized this behavior.
Why did he adjust his auto paper settings?
Because we're tired of picking things up. I don't know. So that's the Wizard of Yendor casting a spell at us. He's that @ symbol in the center. He'll teleport around randomly, and he can also spawn visual clones of himself, which are other purple @ symbols, which are in fact Elven Kings, but sometimes it's hard to tell which one's which, just to make the game confusing. I think that's like a pretty interesting thing about NetHack is it uses the limitation of the ASCII art, like the fact that multiple characters are mapped to purple at symbols to then create like a game characteristic where you have like visual confusion over what you're doing based on that. We got the Book of the Dead by killing Rodney, and now we have to be very quick about getting to the vibrating square because after a certain number of turns, Rodney will respawn and try to kill us again. We just did this ritual. You saw like that moat of fire and water, and now we're in the sanctum, where you go through this thing of halls. Then there's a big thing with like tons of like zombies and ghosts and like ants that are really annoying, and then the priests of Moloch, which are very, very dangerous.
So you had mentioned that in most cases the blessed curse status of an item doesn't really change its attributes, but there's one funny exception, which is that normally, if you drink a potion of gain level, you gain a level. But if you drink a cursed potion of gain level, you go up a dungeon level.
And actually, there's a bunch of these things where certain scrolls, if you read them when confused or if they're cursed, will do different things. That is a really fun thing to read on the wiki. So in this, that wall to the left of us has a door in it, which we just found, where the amulet is inside of it. It's surrounded by fire traps, so you don't want to like spend too much time walking around stepping into fire traps. Inside are priests, which we're killing amazingly quickly, but they have like a really bad spell that they can cast that deals us a ton of damage. And they're taunting us, saying, "How dare you steal the Amulet of Yendor?" So we just picked up the amulet from the priest, and we're going to spend some time figuring out if our items are cursed or not, and then we're going to get the hell out of here. So this is sort of the escape segment of the game. We have the thing that we were looking for, and we need to get out of the dungeon. Once we pick it up, basically every monster in the dungeon aggroes us, so all of those things that were asleep before have now woken up and are sort of preventing our exit from the sanctum.
Also, you saw that he named the Amulet of Yendor AOY. That's because there will be decoy amulets of Yendor later on. He has to keep track of the real one.
Yeah, so Rodney will teleport next to you and like grab things out of your inventory and then like teleport away or like try to kill you. He loves grabbing your quest item. He loves grabbing back the Amulet of Yendor because it's his. Pretty reasonable. So what we're going to do is we're going to go all the way back up to level 1. There's a lot of combat going on because we have conflict turned on. So you'll get all these status messages of basically every monster like trying to like punch each other to death. But we're shooting a death ray, I think, to get rid of this lich. And then we're going to try to fight our way through this like really scary room. Oh, we genocided liches. Sick. Oh, we genocided mind flayers, but not all H's, so we're still alive.
No, death ray on the mind.
Oh, we death rayed the mind flayer. Sorry, I can't keep track of all the text. So we genocided all liches, which makes me very happy. Screw them. No, I don't think so. Well, when you use a scroll of genocide, you kill one type of monster.
Yeah,
when you
just
use
the liches. Nothing else is there. I also got hit by amnesia, which is super annoying, but just gotta live with it.
You got hit by what? Oh, amnesia. So we forgot some things like what levels look like, so it makes it harder to get out. This is Rodney, who's come back from the dead to harass us. Our Wand of Death is out of charges, so we can't shoot him, and he's cursing all of our items to make our lives very difficult. And there's two of them, one of which is probably an Elven King.
No. Double trouble.
What?
He duplicates himself.
Oh, he duplicates himself, so it was 2 Wizards of Yendor. We've killed both of them now. Yeah, when you use a Blessed Scroll of Genocide, it kills that whole monster class, so everything that shares that letter. So in this case, it's liches and master liches. So Rodney will steal the Amulet of Yendor from you. And so what we're supposed to do is go back to the first level of the dungeon and then walk out of the stairs. It prompts you to make sure you're sure to do that. If you have the Amulet of Yendor, you enter the end game, where you go to the astral planes, and then you eventually give it to your god. If you don't have the Amulet of Yendor, your game ends and you lose. So if Rodney has stolen the Amulet of Yendor from you, and you've like left it on the floor of the dungeon by not noticing that he stole it from you, and after you killed him, you just lose the game when you walk out of the dungeon, which is extremely frustrating. So it's very, very important for us to make sure that we have the amulet still when we exit the dungeon. No, the journey is not the reward. We have to enter the gods' pantheon by returning the Amulet of Yendor. We got hit by amnesia, so we forgot where all the doors were, or all the stairs were in all these levels, which is frustrating. But maybe we're, I don't know, going to do something to make this quicker. The quicker we can get out of the dungeon, like the better, because then we don't have to run into Rodney a ton of times. The other thing that happens, which is why it's important to have all of these exit stairs carved, is Rodney will randomly like pull you back down some levels. So you like get up 5 levels and then he'll pull you back down 5 levels. So you have to do a bunch of levels over and over again, which is annoying, which is like a reason why you would not fight as many monsters on your way out, because that increases the amount of likelihood that you're going to get dragged down. No, there's no way to permanently kill him. He always comes back. One thing that can happen in a very hectic game state like this is you can forget whether or not you have your pickaxe or your weapon equipped, and you can start like trying to punch people with your pickaxe or your bare hands if you're unlucky enough, which is frustrating. So it's something that you have to be very cognizant of. I don't know if we have conflict permanently on. Conflict makes you expend food more quickly, and so typically you would only toggle it on in situations you need it.
You can teleport, but it's not reliable, and no level teleporting.
Yeah, it's not guaranteed in the end game. You're doing great.
Yeah, if I die now, I'll be happy anyway, because I got this far. Like, usually, I don't get this far in this time. So I'd say we're in good shape, actually.
Yeah. We'll see how we do in the astral planes, which can be very tricky for a number of reasons. For context, for those of you who haven't played NetHack, my first win, I think, was about 36 hours, and maybe my fastest win is about 20 hours. We're at an hour and a half, and the game is basically done. So that's pretty good. I'd be very surprised if anyone else in this room had a low number of hour win. There's like so much to do and so much reading. I mean, we skipped a bunch of it, but also we did a bunch of things like super efficiently.
How long did you play the game when you first started playing it to before you won?
Oh, it took me about 6 months and a number of weeks of 40 hours a week of playing because I was unemployed. And Seth, who was here previously, who's now my coworker, like in a chat room with me giving me advice to even win that game. On NAO, you can chat with other players. They've implemented a really funny thing where a male demon comes and runs across the screen and hands you like a letter. And it says like, watch out, Beelzebub's there. And so it's like a really cute way to talk. And so Seth would send me letters being like, no, stop fighting the Demogorgon. It's gonna kill you. And I was like, what? Oh shit, the thing's like super high level. So here Rodney has come back again to make our life miserable, and I killed him.
So,
oh wow, you can get the mail demon to your email?
yeah,
That's
so
great.
That's the original like purpose behind it. If
Yeah,
you use source code.
And they're ampersands because that's how demons are represented on Linux systems. Fun fact. The male demon took a lot of balancing to work on NAO because he wanted to provide a way for players to get these items without actually giving them extra items in game. So the letters evaporate as soon as you read them and they don't weigh anything. But they will fall on the floor if your inventory is full. But yeah, like when I originally played this game, someone was like, I bet you'll never beat it. And I was like, challenge accepted. He's like, okay, it will take you a year to ever beat this game. And I did it in 6 months. But really, like, yeah, playing like, I mean, the game's addictive, so it's easy to very quickly play 40 hours a week if you let yourself. So we're having a hard time getting out because we keep getting teleported back downstairs. But you see how useful that pickaxe is to renegotiate these dungeon levels very quickly. Why can't we teleport across the... Oh, why does that keep happening? That's an effect of the end game. Once you have the amulet, you're sort of like cursed, which is like why all these monsters are attacking us and why these bad things happen to us. It's just like a thing that Rodney does to make the end game harder, is you just get pulled back down levels randomly.
It's a very annoying game mechanic. I would have many non-family friendly words to say about that.
It's a really annoying game mechanic. I'm sure it's even more annoying if you're speedrunning. It's normally just very annoying. It happens within a certain number of turn range, and it's a random chance. I mean, yeah, if you waste all your time walking around these levels. So what I do when I play the end game is explore all of the mazes fully by themselves, then cut a path directly from the upstairs to the downstairs. So when I get back to that level, I take the shortest number of turns to get off of that level. This is Orcus Town, which we basically skipped beforehand, or we went through really quickly. But it's sort of this abandoned town with these like abandoned shops and lots of like skeletons. And you can find good items there, like an amulet of life-saving, but we had it already. But it's also a great place to find rings that we needed. You kill Orcus, which we did, which is how we got that wand of death in the first place. So yeah, basically like once you get the amulet, like the clock is ticking, and so it's just like very important to get out of the dungeon as quickly as you can, so you interact with Rodney less, and you have less of a chance of like any of these bad things happening to you. But typically also you're high enough level that all these monsters don't really pose a threat anymore. So like you have to interact with them a ton, but they're like not that scary. Is this Beelzebub? Oh, it's Asmodeus.
I paid him off.
Yeah, so Asmodeus is like, oh, you want to go into hell? Like, give me some money. But he only knows about how much money you have currently like available. You see we have like $29, or Zormkind. But we have like probably tens of thousands in our bag of holding. Asmodeus is like really dumb, so he just thought that we had $40. So we gave him half of our gold and he was happy.
Are we going to use that gold for anything?
No, we could in theory use it to pay off a priest and get more levels of AC, but
it's not worth it at this point.
Yeah.
No one cares.
I would do it, but I play very safe because I'm not very good. As you're coming back, you also get like sort of blessed sight from having the amulet. This is Beelzebub, who's the prince of demons. Demons are really scary because every time they hit you, they have a chance to spawn a random named demon, or a random demon, which could be a named demon. So certain demons are guaranteed to appear in the game. Beelzebub and Asmodeus are two of them. But if they hit you enough, they could summon other named demons, which are really scary.
Yeah, but this guy cannot summon anyone who's actually scary, since it's a lawful demon. So Demogorgon cannot be summoned by this guy, which is great.
The scariest of which is Demogorgon, which is like an order of magnitude level higher than any other monster in the game, and is very strong. So you have to be very careful when you run into demons, like sort of kill them very quickly, so they don't summon one of these like super powerful other demons. And then like that can sort of multiply as more demons appear. They can summon more and more demons and make your life really miserable. So here we have like two not so scary demons, but they do exist. And we're on the upstairs, so Beelzebub couldn't escape, and then we killed him.
Did we?
Did we? I have no idea. I don't know. But will he follow us up the level? Oh, he went down.
Oh.
Bye.
Then I don't care what happened to him.
See, I mean, we're like running like a bat out of hell, and so literally, that was Jubilix's level, which we just flew over all the water and ran out. Yeah, these squares like reappear. It's like a part of the end game as well, much like the level teleport down. It's like a thing. I don't know. You can ask a developer like why this happens, but I don't know. We got hit with amnesia, which made us forget some parts of some levels. So in some levels, we forgot where the stairs were, in some levels, we didn't. But we should at least, typically you would expect to remember the path that we had traveled before, but we didn't.
This would have been a level where he ducked down from the level above and then immediately dug down, which is what that brown carrot is.
Yeah, which is why we didn't have a path that we had already pre-dug. But here we remember it from a scroll of magic mapping that we read, and so we know where the exit stairs are. And here's a level where we had dug that whole path, and we still remember everything we saw. Those steam vortexes aren't hurting us because we have heat resistance, so they deal us heat damage, but it doesn't do anything because we're resistant to heat. But that's what that weird sort of thing happening where we're inside of like that circle. We've been eaten by a steam vortex. This is the sanctum, so we're gonna finally get out of hell, and we're back to the normal dungeon, which should be way easier. There are still like a bunch of monsters on this level, which are now all aggroing us, but we, I think, have conflict on, so they're busy fighting each other. It has a preset shape to it, so we know how to get out. And we're going to get out into the castle, which will fly back through, and we killed everything there, so there won't be monsters to bother us. I mean, more monsters will appear, just like randomly generated, but not enough to really be scary. And I think we have a blindfold on, which is why we could see everything, or we were blind. As you can see, all the soldiers we didn't kill back on that level. That A is like a weird flying snake, one of the weirder characters. Because we have telepathy. Telepathy lets us see all monsters on the level, but only if we're blind, because, only monsters with minds. We can't see golems, that's correct, or zombies. And a quaddle? Yeah. It's an A because it's like a godly, it's like an angel. So later we'll fight some angels. What I was going to say is in the plane of air, well, yeah, so the elemental planes have a bunch of like really unique challenges. One thing that we'll run into later that's really scary. So here Rodney is back and he's making our life miserable. It doesn't matter, we have levitation. He's not going to steal our boots, probably. But if we had a ring of levitation, it'd be much scarier that we could fall into the water and drown. Yeah, we have boots of levitation. So we're shooting a wand of killing at him in the hopes of just killing him one shot, but it keeps missing him. I think this is partially because we don't have super high luck. In a game where you had full luck, you would probably just immediately kill him. There's no real good way to run away from Rodney. You see that he stole the Amulet of Yendor from us, so it's very important that we pick it back up. Otherwise, we'd have to come all the way back down here when we got to the top and realized we didn't have it.
Which is also why I had to be really careful not to kill Rodney over water.
Yes, that's true. If you killed Rodney over water, then the amulet falls into the water, and I actually don't know. You'd have to get an amulet of water breathing to like drown in the water and pick it up. You could probably also polymorph yourself into a character that could breathe water and then go find it. So someone in the audience said if it's a thing that you can't bury, you can freeze the water with a wand of freezing, and then it will pop back to the top of the water. That's a good way to get the Book of the Dead, which is a required item for the end of the game, if you ever drop it into the water. But you should be very responsible with your precious items and not lose them. Cool. We didn't get stoned by that cockatrice. Hooray. So now we're back into the regular dungeon, and so these levels will be hopefully easier and more memorable, so we can get out of them more easily. We did dig through a lot of them, so we don't necessarily know where the exit stairs are, but the exit stairs are more constrained than typically. And Rodney has appeared again. Oh, great, we killed him immediately. The exit stairs are more constrained than in the maze. Like, they have to be in a room, and the rooms occupy less space. So yeah, Rodney keeps spawning, and when he spawned here, he summoned a bunch of monsters to harass us. And that was probably some monsters that we never explored before. All those ones back down there. When we get to the elemental planes, one really scary monster is going to be the air elemental, which swallows us and then pummels us with random debris, which deals us a lot of damage. They're a giant pain in the ass. We'll see how we fare. I don't know if we want to prepare like wands of, or potions of full healing or anything like that to deal with final levels any easier. But we have a lot of, oh, we fell into a trapdoor. That's not fun. We have a lot of intrinsic protections, which makes them easier. Was that an Elven King? Yeah, so that was like a imitation Wizard of Yandor, and that's why I was shooting all these arrows at us, because it was an elf and not actually the actual Wizard of Yandor. Oh, your mic died? I can fix that. Blah, 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 blah. Can I have the audience mic?
Yeah.
Blah, blah. What I was going to say, elves suck and dwarves are a lot better than elves.
I can take that away from
Like, my favorite is Gimli from Lord of the Rings. Like,
So a question about images. So where you went through and did all the levels and yet you're having to rediscover them again. What happened?
I got hit by a Mind Flayer, which makes me forget like a certain portion of levels.
Yeah, so Mind Flayers eat your brains, and when it ate our brain, we forgot certain things. You'll forget like scrolls or items that you've identified. You'll also forget the maps of certain levels, which is one of the reasons why people genocide Mind Flayers, so they never have to run into that and get amnesia. Mind Flayers also permanently eat your intelligence, so if you're like a wizard, it makes it harder to cast spells. And if they eat enough of your intelligence, you die from having too low intelligence. You see there, we just popped into Sokoban instead of the actual next level up. It's way too late in the game to even consider doing Sokoban, but that's one of those optional dungeon branches. So yeah, like you might kill a Mind Flayer because they're one of these things that can sort of kill you through intrinsics, and they also make escaping much harder. Here's another level that we never really explored. That's right. If you had a perfect memory, you could just remember what all the levels looked like and then get attacked by Mind Flayers all you wanted and be able to get through them. I mean, you can take screenshots, but like that's not going to happen in a speedrun. Yes. So you saw that some of the items we wished for were greased. Greased items make them harder to grab onto. So those eels were wrapping their fins around our legs. If we had greased armor, they'd have a harder time grabbing onto us. If we had a greased helmet, a Mind Flayer would have a harder time putting its tentacles on our helmet and eating our brain, which would make it harder for them to eat our brain, but we didn't spend the time getting a can of grease and greasing everything we have. You can also accidentally grease your weapon and then you drop it all the time, which is not really fun. But you know, in Nethack, everything's like overdone. So we're on the first level again. We've forgotten it, but as soon as we find the upstairs, we can get out of here.
We're not.
As long as we have the amulet, we do.
Have the amulet.
We can go into the end game. So in the end game, we go through the elemental planes.
Does it matter that the amulet is cursed?
No. So it just asks us, are we sure? Are we super sure we want to go into the elemental planes? And we said yes. And then, of course, Rodney immediately appears as soon as we do that, and we have to kill him again. This is the plane of Earth, so we're fighting Earth elementals and giants. And we get a lot of wands of digging to dig through it. So we're sort of in these small caves that we're going to dig combinations through. Did we just read magic mapping to get out of here? Oh. So the Orb of Faith detects traps, and those portals between elemental realms are considered to be traps. And so if we use the orb, we can figure out where the exit to the level is. So we got through the realm of Earth really quickly, and now we're in the realm of air, where we're sort of being blown around by wind. Because we had teleportation, we get around it much easier. and we got past all of those air elementals really quickly. This is the realm of fire. There's a bunch of fire traps which won't affect us because we're resistant to fire. There's fire elementals, and there's a bunch of random monsters. One annoying thing about this level is with conflict on, one, the fire traps confuse us about what's the fire trap and the exit. The other is with conflict on, all of the giants like keep stepping on the fire traps and giving us like a ton of status messages. But we got past it. This is the realm of water, where we go between bubbles. Okay. Realm of water is really hard, but we did it really quickly. Now we are on the final one, the astral realm. Hopefully it's in our inventory. Yeah, it's right there. That's the amulet. What we're going to do is we're going to find the altar of our god and sacrifice the amulet to our god and then be promoted to demigod status. The problem is there's 3 altars distributed randomly around this very hard level, and the first one we find isn't guaranteed to be our god's altar. So one thing you can do is you can change your alignment and worship a different god at the very last minute and then sacrifice the amulet to them. If we have a wish left, we can wish for a helm of opposite alignment and then like just use any of the other altars. I don't know if this is our altar or not. It's not our altar. This is the neutral altar. So we can't use it. And so we have to go find another altar. So on this level are the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, Death, Famine, Pestilence, and War, who teleport next to you and then like try to ruin your life. Death will permanently reduce your number of hit points. Famine will make you really hungry. Pestilence will make you sick. You see, we just took a lot of damage. It's bad. Conflict really helps us here. It makes all of these random angels not bother us all the time. But our health is still like, I mean, we're still taking a lot of damage. Conflict came from the Scepter of Might, which we wished for. It's the caveman quest item, and it has toggleable conflict. So you see we're like hiding here. I think we have regeneration on, which is why our health is coming back so fast. I don't know if mapping will allow us to figure out which altar is which, but the next one we find, as long as we have a wish, should be good enough to get out of here. So we have to find, yeah, like our proper altar. A cool thing is if your god really likes you when you get here, he gives you a pet, he or she gives you a pet angel to protect you. But of course, it's like way more preferable to have conflict on this level. So actually, the angel just immediately attacks you as soon as you turn on conflict, and it's like not very fun to have. But it's a weird, funny quirk of the end game. So we just got surrounded by ants, or like weird beetles, and now we're killing priests, and that's Death, who is a huge pain in the ass. Really, Death comes back from the dead, so you have to keep killing him, as do the other horsemen. Also, the way that we got rid of Rodney really quickly in a lot of the previous situations was that we zapped a wand of death at him. That doesn't work on Death. Like, wait, do we have a wish? Can we get a helm of opposite alignment? No, okay. So we're hiding inside this cross-aligned altar. And our wand of wishing doesn't work because we've used all the wishes on it. But I think we're repeatedly zapping it until we exhaust the final charge from it. And that will let us get rest, quote, rest, one final wish from this wand. We've locked the door and none of the monsters apparently can pick locks, so we're like safe inside this room until this happens.
Death can still enter this room, but I don't know where he is. Hopefully he doesn't come in until I get this final wish.
Yeah, so we're trying to get a final wish from this wand, and then it will sort of disintegrate. So now we're going to wish for a helm of opposite alignment. The wand turns to dust. We put it on the helm, and we become chaotic instead of lawful. And now, hey, we're worshiping Loki, and we can sacrifice the amulet to Loki and ascend. Wow. Very good.
Yay. But yeah, that was actually a pretty good time. I think it's slightly less than 1 hour and 50 minutes since I think I started the timer slightly before I actually started the game. So this is actually pretty, I think it may be better than anyone else has done aside from me. Like, as far as I know, the second best time is 1 hour 55 minutes, like talking about people who are not me. But I'm not sure. There may be something and they just haven't told me. I don't know. So yeah.
So that TTY rec will be on NAO. You can go re-watch it because NAO records all the games that are played. Yeah, you can watch it sped up, but 1 hour and 52 minutes is like pretty quick. That's the end of the Roguelike celebration.
It was good to be here.
Yeah. Thank you all so much for coming. It's been really just a huge blast. Again, thank you, GitHub.